Hi, welcome to today's tutorial on how to create a faux porcelain barrette. For this project I've used a Spellbinders Grand Caliber die cutting machine, Spellbinders Moroccan Accents die, Spellbinders Standard Circles Large, and Penny Black's Trailing Beauty. To begin, I take a piece of mirror card, some silver metal, some double-sided tape, a barrette, and the Moroccan Accents die. I place the double-sided tape onto the mirror card and then add it to the metal. This actually strengthens the front of the barrette. It also helps to hold the smaller pieces in place. Place the die cutting side up onto the base plate, then place a piece of wax paper over the top, and then with the metal side facing downwards, place that over the die. The wax paper helps to release it once you've cut out the image. I then place my cutting plate on top and run the whole thing through the cutting machine, just checking to make sure that it hasn't moved before I run it through. You may need to run it through a couple of times because the metal and the card together make quite a thick sandwich. Once you have done this, you can then remove the outer edge. Place the die face up on the base plate. Then put the tan embossing mat over the top and the embossing plate and run through the machine again. By doing this, it curls the metal slightly so that you won't have any sharp edges. Because you've used the wax paper, it will be really easy to get out of the die. Then remove the layer of wax paper and you're then ready to adhere it to the barrette using hot glue. Then take some white shrinky plastic and cut out a circle using your circle dies. I'm then going to use Stays On olive green ink and the Trailing Beauty stamp. Because my circle is smaller than the stamp, I'm just going to use a piece of scratch paper to avoid any mess on my craft area. Once the image is stamped, I then set it aside for a little while to dry. You can see there are some white areas here, so I'm just going around the edge and adding a few more flowers using the edge of the stamp. Once this is dry, I'm then going to use Faber Castell Aquarelle pencils to colour in the leaves. You can see I've speeded this up a bit, I'm not really this quick. Once I've done all the leaves, I'm then going to colour in the petals using 2 shades of pink. I start off with the lighter shade and cover the whole of the petal. I then go back in with the darker shade and colour out from the centre of the flower, leaving the outer edges with the lighter shade. Once I have done this, I'll just quickly put a bit of yellow in the centre. And then I'm going to take a water brush and I'm going to dry off the end of it with my fingers so that it is barely wet and just smooth in the colours and blend together. Remember that once this is shrunk, it will be a lot darker, so don't worry if it appears really light at this stage. Here it is completely coloured. I'll just quickly show you the blue one because I've done a blue barrette as well. Again, start with the lighter blue shade and then add the darker colour afterwards. I forgot to mention earlier that when stamping, use the rough side of the shrink plastic, not the smooth side. This way it'll be much easier to colour with the pencils afterwards. Again, go back in with water. I've actually got a little bit too much water on my brush here and you can see it begin to pool. Once you have completed the colouring stage, you'll then be able to go on and shrink the actual shape. I just use a heat gun and don't worry or panic when it curls up on itself. It will flatten back out again once it has completed its shrinking process. And just to make sure, I use an acrylic block just to smooth it out right at the end. I'm going to glue this to my barrette with the glossy accents from Ranger. Again, before I place it onto the barrette, I'm going to heat it very slightly to soften the actual shrink plastic so that it will mould to the barrette shape easily. You don't have to do this too much, just enough to make it warm. I then press onto the barrette and leave to dry. Once I have done this, I then go back over again with glossy accents on the top to seal the top layer. You could also use ice resin at this stage, which I think would give a clearer image. To finish off, I've then added some gems, and here's the finished result. I've also done a blue one. Thank you for watching. For a full list of materials, please visit my blog at candronicocardcraft.blogspot.co.uk.